Welcome to this episode of Voodu Warlock 2023. In this episode, I'm going to be doing the base 15 Cogs quest. There are 4 of them. There are 8 Cogs quests altogether. 4 of them are base 15, so you do them at 17 on Elite or higher, typically if you're looking for max XP across the board. And then the other 4 are base 16. You will do those at, probably be the next episode actually. Do those at level 18 if you're doing them on Elite or higher. So the quests I've done since the last episode, as I mentioned earlier in this series, I have been trying to focus on picking up favor along the way. So doing quests that don't have an epic or legendary counterpart. There's a bunch of them at 15. Like the missing chain, I wouldn't normally do that chain. I typically do missing because that can be done very quickly. Pretty good XP per minute. Sometimes I do a sinister storage, but I never do in the flesh or the capstone. Or Fear Factory in the flesh is the capstone. I also did Disciples of Shar Chain, Delirium, Acid Wit. I wouldn't typically do those, but I want to get all the favor that I can, get all those bonuses. I guess Delirium, I didn't really need to do that. Don't need anything from Free Agent Favor, but or Fear Factory for that matter. In any event, you know, I am going to Cap, staying there for a while. I want all those favor bonuses, all the save bonuses, all the hit point bonuses, all the skill point bonuses, etc. The only gear that's changed since the last level is going to be the Dashing Gloves. These come out of the end chest of Good Intentions in the Harbor. That's the quest that has the same, or it's over there by Missing. These have High Resonance and Sonic Lore, Quality Charisma 2, Quality Perform. Remember, Sonic Spell Power is affected by the Perform skill. Although we're not a spell power focused build, nonetheless, there's value here. And got Mythic 3 to boot. Topazim enchantment focus. I don't use a whole lot of enchantment these days, but you know, sometimes I like to use the symbol of persuasion. I feel like I haven't been showing the spells that I've been picking up, but it might have been a few episodes since I talk about spells, but Arcane Tempest is nice to add some additional DPS, especially nice for beating down like bosses or reapers. Tensor's Transformation, you know, we'll be running with that all on at endgame, but at this point, you know, if I feel like I need the added defense, I'll use it. I do have Odo's Sphere of Dancing, not a very good save, but 39 will have some effect at this level, DC of 39, but that will be ineffective by the time we get into epics. Let's see, for enhancements, did pick up You've Got My Back, and that's preferable to get permanent shield over shield here in Enlightened Spirit if possible, because when you cast both the shield and night shield spell, you get 10 PRR and 10 MRR. 10 PRR from casting shield, 10 MRR from casting night shield. So I'll be swapping out jump for night shield once I get to cap. Whenever my standing jump skill is at 40, that's the effective jump cap. You do not benefit from jump beyond 40, at least not physically jumping. There are some limited instances where you could benefit from higher jumping, but generally speaking, 40 is the effective cap. I'm at 22 standing now. By the time I get to endgame, I should be good to go, and I'll be able to swap out jump for night shield. Let's see, I think I spec'd out the PRR and the MRR, and that would be about the only change since the last time I showed this. Looks like I'm at 2,081 total favor at this point. That's a little bit further than I typically would be at this point in a normal life, but like I said, I'm focusing on favor and doing a whole bunch of quests I wouldn't normally do. There's my character sheet standing outside of Reaper mode. Skills, you know, I think I mentioned earlier I may have gone a little too light, and I may not be able to max out some skills that I would really like to. You know, I want to max out Intimidate. I definitely will. I would also like to max out Concentration, Balance, Spellcraft, but, you know, I may have to let some Spellcraft go. Not a big deal. Reaper enhancements, we have tier 3 now. A total of 90 Reaper points to max out tier 3. We won't be able to spend any more Reaper points until we get to level 21. That'll give us tier 4 up here, as well as tier 4 in the course. Alright, let's do some quests. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the spaces in between. In case you're a little bit less familiar with these, I'll show you how to get to them. The first quest we're going to do is Wraithcallers, and I like to take the catwalks because, well, if you run along the ground, then you're going to aggro a bunch of mobs. But if you just want to get there with, you know, without spiking your red dungeon alert, then you can come up here and just go along the catwalk, baby. Explore. Explorers are in different locations in the legendary instance of the Slayer Zone. And we don't have to fuss with all the mobs down below if we don't want to when we take this route. Just a few mobs at the start and a few mobs right before we get to the quest. No big whoop. Series are probably going to include a lot of legendary stuff. So this is should be a pretty long series. I don't know if chain will bounce between them because they've got a barrier between them, but that's okay. We'll just be patient. I should have used Focus Blast in that case, since it's not bouncing between them anyways. This Focus Blast would be a little bit higher DPS for single target use. One big change that happened, you know, I told you there was a 6-week gap while I was doing hardcore, and one big change that happened in the game during that 6-week break I took from making this series is that Heroic Completionist is now auto-granted. And that's really huge. That's going to free up a feat for a lot of players and really does put Heroic Completionist into a position of very high priority. I have a video that Nimvind and I made a few years back. One of my most popular videos. It's called How to Prioritize Your Past Lives. And that, you know, when people are new to Reincarnation, new to the game and stuff, there's so many past lives it can be overwhelming. And so we help you make sense of how you can prioritize your past lives based on your own specific needs and wants. And one of the things we said there was that Heroic Completionist would not be a high priority unless you intended to spend the feat slot on it, because you used to have to spend a feat slot to get it, but you don't now. And now that it's auto-granted, it's absolutely huge. So just for, what, 14, 15 lives, you can get +2 to all ability scores and +2 to all skills on top of that. That's very significant. The fact that it's auto-granted, it won't take away from your feat allocations anymore. This situation where I'm going to use Arcane Tempest. Did it just get blown out? Because it's like it appeared and then disappeared right away. Now, if you want, when you're doing this one, you know, if you feel like you're going to need a break after the first boss, make sure you kill this first boss back here. So I thought I killed all the trash. Okay, and if you kill the first boss back here, that's going to give you a little reprieve between the first and second boss. And, you know, if you wanted to, you could shrine up. If you had guilty or party members that were dead, you could raise them, see how the final boss has an aggroed. And we're going to go ahead and do blue fire shield because that's going to give me 50% fire absorption. If you're fighting this guy in a group, I would recommend bringing him out a little bit further and then turning him towards the lava. And that's going to give you, if you're the tank, some real estate to move around in. These Forge Wraiths are really squirrely and they kind of, you know, juke to the left and right, you know what I'm saying? And if you're already up there at the lava, there's nowhere for you to back up. But if you bring him out a little bit, you know, you can back up. He's standing still for me. He's not being very cooperative. I want him to be difficult, and he's not being. But, you know, if you bring him out here and he starts, you know, swaying to the left and right, you can back up a little bit and keep his back to the party so that he doesn't accidentally get one of your party members with his flamethrower ability, which is very powerful. All right, that's Wraithcallers, and now I'm going to double recall and go to Ruinous Schemes. That's going to be the next one that we do, and it's going to be easier just to run from the start. All right, now that we're back in the cogs at the entrance, I'm going to head south to Ruinous Schemes. And it's right over there. I should have showed in the last one how you can pull the mobs out, which is more of a tactic that we would use in High Skull Legendary. Just doing R1 though, it's not necessary. But same thing here, you know, you can, most of these mobs aren't going to kite out, but you can get a lot of cover by coming back here. The rest of your party members aren't going to be aren't going to be exposed to their ranged attacks. We can use change shape since archers don't kite around very well. We'll just use change shape. But if we were doing this on on higher difficulty, we could come in first, grab the aggro, and that way our party members could come and do the things that their builds are designed to do. Remember, as the tank, it's our job to get the aggro and hold the aggro so that our party members can do the things that they're supposed to do. Insta-kill and crowd control and DPS. I'm going to go ahead and switch to chain shape. Oh, it won't go around corners. There's an optional through this door here. We're not going to do that, but if you want an extra chest, it's there. I'm just going to get these breakables. That'll help us get higher breakables bonus. More XP, baby. lot of these mobs aren't going to want to kite together. Now, if you click on this collectible over here, you're going to get some like lily petal thingy dingies. Those have never been implemented. Whatever use they were perhaps intended for has never been implemented. They have no function as far as I know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch to chain shape since all these ranged mobs don't want to kite together. Make a poison pot, get rid of that poison above my head. Actually ran this tune on the live stream for the first time just about since I've started this project. I've been ghosting the live stream because I've been doing this series behind the scenes. All right, we're going to pull, you know, you try if you want to. We're going to pull this lever to get the end fight started. But I did like Delirium and Acid Wit since I knew I wasn't going to be including those as part of the video series. I went ahead and did them on the live stream yesterday. And tomorrow's Saturday. I'm going to be on DDO stream. I'm there every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. It's DDO's official Twitch channel. Probably going to do Heroic Shroud flagging since I'm not going to be including that as part of the series, as part of the video series. So there's no legendary version of those quests, so I want to get them done in Heroics. Be doing the 16 cogs. So here we want to take down this portal. As soon as the portal dies, I'm using Everett's Black Tentacles and Arcane Tempest. As soon as the portal dies, all the trash disappears. There's a whole bunch of demons that spawn, but then they go poof, and then you can focus on the final boss. And I'm just going to switch to Focus Blast. If he throws some nasty persistent AoEs, remember we can use Gust of Wind to blow it out, and I'm using Gust of Wind from the Brine Shaman's Staff. Showed that earlier in the series. Love that clicky. Comes from Heroic 3-Barrel Cove End Rewards. Pretty common to find it on the End Rewards. Okay, now we're going to double recall again and head east to Smash and Burn. Back into the cogs. Now we're heading east. And Smash and Burn is just around the corner. Those mobs won't aggro on you if you don't attack them. Right here. A lot of people hate this one. But I have a plan. Actually, it being solo and just R1, it's no big deal. But I will talk about tactics for Higher Skull Reaper and endgame play. Because, you know, this one can be a Hornet's Nest. There are lots of different ways to deal with Hornet's Nests. You know, you got a Hornet's Nest. If you want, you can just kick it. You know, and the Hornets will fly out and sting you in the face. And that's a lot of fun if you like that. You know, if you like being stung in the face by 1,000 Hornets, you know, kick a Hornet's Nest then. I don't like kicking Hornet's Nests. We're going to just jump over those traps. Even if we have a trapper, we're going to leave them. And here's why. What we're going to do is we're going to just tie a garbage bag around the Hornet's Nest at night when they're docile, right? We're just going to quietly slip the trash bag over it and then tie it off. And then dealing with the Hornet's Nest is no big whoop. So you can just go in and grab a few mobs, however many you want. You can go in halfway, quarter of the way. Oops. I don't have my dancing ball loaded up. And then you bring them back here into your crowd control. Okay? And then everybody else stays back here. You just go in as the tank, and you're the lure. You start pulling mobs out, and you can use the wall as cover, and that forces the mobs to get close to you. You know, if they don't have line of sight to you, then they're going to have to move to you, right? And they get caught in their own traps. I didn't mean to charm them. I cast the wrong spell. Often don't even pick up Symbol of Persuasion. Sometimes I pick it up during Heroics, but I oftentimes don't pick it up anymore. But I did this life, and I put it in a spot that I usually reserve for Odo's Sphere of Dancing, or Odo's Dancing Ball. Okay, so you just lure the mobs back. They get lured through their own traps. Again, you don't have your trapper disable those traps right away because they're gonna get caught in their own traps, right? So we're not even gonna mess around with that dice puzzle here in the start. You know what I'm saying? We don't even have to go that way. If you do that dice puzzle here, it opens up, you know, another way to go, and it's just a bunch of more garbage to deal with. I don't want to deal with that. Like I said, I don't like kicking hornets' nests. But if you want to, you can. I'm not going to stop you. I'm just giving you advice here. So we're just going to straight up the middle. And we're not going to deal with anything down that way. You know, again, hornet's nest. Kick it if you like. I'm not going to. You know, and if you were being the lure, you could come in here and, you know, get any last bit of aggro and then drag it back. You know what I'm saying? You could do as little bit at a time you want. You a quarter of the way, halfway, the whole way. It's a little intense if you come all the way and grab everything. You will more than likely spike a dungeon alert. If there's a Reaper, they can slow you down. You can really get stuck. So I wouldn't recommend, you know, just keep the ego in check. You know, come in about halfway, bring them back. But, you know, you do whatever you want. Bunch of breakables in this hall. If this was legendary and I was, you know, focusing on Reaper XP, then, you know, I would want to get those breakables. But in heroics, there's only a pittance of Reaper XP. It's not worth my time going for breakables. A lot of times, this one I won't bother with. But if this were legendary, I would definitely get the breakables. That's easy Reaper XP. Key. A key can be in a variety of places. All right, here. I like to go in and get the aggro of the stuff, you know, if I'm doing this on like legendary high skull, and bring the mobs out. If the boss comes out, he will white dot. I'm okay with that. We're focusing on clearing out the trash at this point. Where'd you come from? A little Arcane Tempest action there. Choose him right up. Alright, now we got mobs that don't want to kite together. Change shape in these ranged mobs. Trash comes out when the boss is at 50. What I like to do is, you know, have it all cleared, have these mobs cleared before it DPS the boss down to 50, if I'm doing this on a High Skull Reaper, and then stand about right here and have everybody else further up, especially the ranged and casters. That way the trash that spawns has to come up the ramp, has to get through us, the tank, and then you can just grab its aggro. But if everybody's standing out here, down here, when the trash spawns, Hornet's Nest, right? And again, if you want to kick a Hornet's Nest, you are welcome to do so. I will not stop you. But I like to do things more orderly. which is one of the reasons why I love running with a tank. All week been running with my guildie Twiz from Reaper Life 4. She's been learning the tank over the last few months. She's been learning the raid tank over the last few months. But just this week has been learning to quest tank in High Skull Reaper. In fact, just today, she did her first tanking of Legendary Reaper 10 Skull. Doing a great job, too. She only has 5 past lives and like 35 Reaper points, and she's doing awesome in Legendary High Skull Reaper quest tanking. Not using this build, using it's some kind of I'm not sure what build she's using, but I think it's a PDK Paladin. I think I don't know what the class split is, but it was just and doing it on the live stream too. Just a good example of how you don't have to have a million past lives and a million Reaper points to do some pretty cool things. The past lives are great. I'm not trying to throw past lives under the bus. I just, I hate to see people who are a little bit newer think, oh, I got to have 100 past lives or I shouldn't even bother. I just should not even play. And it's just totally not true. But a lot of new players can get that misperception. Just stepped on those middle two to solve that one. It just gets us a chest. We'll do this one too. That's telling you these all have to be to 3. You can also, there's traps that you can, trap boxes you disable to open it up too, but this is telling you that all those need to be set to 3. We're just going to hit this corner one, and then we're going to hit this low one here, and then this corner one, and bada bing, bada boom, it's done. Free booty. Okay, now we're looking for suspicious cargo or special cargo or something. You can do blue fire shield here because when these Forge Wraiths do their flamethrower attack, it's pretty intense. You're going to want to try to avoid it if you can, but having blue fire shield going mitigates 50% of the damage, and that's pretty huge. This is another room that's just an absolute hornet's nest, and people hate it because they're like, I get overwhelmed by 500 Forge Wraiths. Well, that's because you kicked the hornet's nest. Don't kick a hornet's nest and then complain that you got stung 100 times. You kicked a hornet's nest. Like I said, just tie a garbage bag around it at dusk and you're going to be fine. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do this end fight at our own pace. If you want to kick the hornet's nest and aggro everything at once, by all means. But you can literally do this at your own pace. Like, you can just aggro these things one at a time. Like, you control the flow of this fight. By just, when everybody comes in here, you got a party of 6 and everybody's pulling these mobs from every direction. Yeah, that's the hornet's nest. But if you just have one person pulling these, you can pull them 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, whatever pace works for you. You control the flow of the fight. Don't let the fight control you. You control the fight. Collectible, and there was a button back there that I pressed. There was one on the other side that we already pressed. Chain shape, just because, I don't know, maybe there's another one within range, but I guess not. Another collectible right here. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm going to refresh my blue fire shield. Okay, I got 3 of them kiting together, so I'm going to go ahead and put my aura back on. Just burst them. Okay, we still have some more Forge Wraiths hiding somewhere. And there's another button right over here. Oh, and there's some special cargo. Okay, we've got 1 more special cargo to go. I think that's the last button. The special cargo is rather well hidden sometimes. So you just got to look around for it. Okay, that's the last Forge Wraith. See, no big deal. We dealt with it on our terms, not their terms. They would love to overwhelm us and attack us all at once. But I don't want that to happen. You know, I just aggro 1, 2, or 3 at a time. That works for me. Bite-sized chunks. You take too big of a bite, you choke. Go ahead and get the end chest now. But the quest still isn't complete. Still gotta find a special cargo. So I'm gonna backspace around. See if I can pick it up by searching interactables. I just picked it up. Yep, there it is over there. So we're going to equip a throwing weapon. Bada bing, bada boom, we are done. And that's smash and burn, baby. Now we're going to head north-ish. Well, we're going to turn north to Thralls of the Fungus Lord right up there. Getting tight on time. I got to lead raids and start a live stream here in like 11 minutes. We're going to have to be quick about this one. Make sure Shining Through is fresh. Everything in here will kite together, so this will be no big whoop. Our burst is going to tear it up. That's heroic R1. You know, our burst is going to tear anything up when we're doing legendary high skull. That's when we're really going to be switching to tank mode. Is that end game? But right now, this high defensive build is going to be great. You know, if you want to tank in heroics, that's great. You know, especially if you're playing with some squishier friends, they'll appreciate the fact that you're able to hold aggro and keep it off of them. It's also great for hardcore environment. Been very successful with this build on hardcore. Very pleased with how it performs. High defenses are great for a hardcore environment, and plenty of DPS to be effective, you know, when you're just doing, you know, elite questing or even low skull reaper questing, which is all you're doing in hardcore. You don't do high skull questing in hardcore. You don't even do mid skull. People are pretty, generally speaking, people aren't going to do higher than about 4 skulls. Because once you get to 5 skulls, then you start dealing with Vengeance Reapers. And most people don't want to deal with Vengeance Reapers in hardcore, because hardcore is, of course, permadeath. You die, you're done. There's no raised dead. You're out. Okay? And Vengeance Reapers do those nasty circles. And that's all it takes is one circle to wipe you right out. And there's so many scenarios in which you just don't see the circle because, you know, it's in the air, it's in a doorway, it's on a stairway. You know, who wants to take that chance? Most people don't. Refresh the Shining Through. Looks like they did a little bit of damage to me, so I'll throw a heal scroll. Oh, I also wanted to show that I had some scrolls of... I thought I picked up some scrolls of mass heal. It's nice to be able to UMD those. I did pick them up. They're in my hotbar. I don't know where they're at in my inventory, but here they are. 130% chance to throw mass heal at level 17. That's freaking awesome. You know, you can't buy those at a vendor, but, you know, they are rare drops, and I do save them. You know, and you can have your buddies pass them your way, too, if you want. And it's just nice to be able to throw that in a situation, you know, maybe you don't have a healer, maybe, you know, the whole party's resting at a shrine and everybody's down. You can throw those. It's kind of nice. just to have that option. I don't use them often. Crystal Cove just started, so that's a Crystal Cove chest. That's a new feature to the event, is that Crystal Cove chests can drop in questing, and you get compasses and doubloons just from regular quests. And end fight time. So we're going to go in here, and I'm going to hit my save boost just because I don't want to get my brain eaten. And I'm going to hit my tainted spell casting. Got 2 Cove champions here. We'll do Everett's Black Tentacles. Throw the Arcane Tempest on Galatraz here. Alright, now that it's just me and Galatraz, switching to Focus Blast. And these dishes are done, baby. And that is Heroic Cogs, base 15s. Hell yeah. Where'd you come from? If you have any questions, as always, you can make a comment in this video. You can post on my build posts. And as always, I welcome you to stop by the Twitch live stream. Hell yeah. We'll see you soon.